Ethan sits alone on the living room couch, the dim light from a single lamp casting cold shadows along the walls. It's 11:47 p.m., dangerously late for a simple work dinner. Yet the house feels heavier than the hour. The TV is on but muted, flickering light across his tired eyes as he stares at the door like it might suddenly explain everything. He replays Maya's earlier message. It's just a work dinner. And for the first time, the tone feels unfamiliar, almost rehearsed. His mind drifts to the subtle changes, the distant smiles, the rushed exits, the way she started guarding her phone. The quiet of the night amplifies every doubt, wrapping around him like a cold fog. He rubs his hands together, trying to ground himself, but the stillness only deepens the ache. Something is wrong, and he can feel it in his bones. The silence of the room shatters when Ethan's phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. Expecting a harmless notification, he unlocks it casually, but everything inside him changes when he reads the text. "You deserve to know the truth before they ruin both our lives." Confusion turns to panic as a photo loads. It shows Maya, his wife, sitting at a bar with Ryan, her co-worker, their fingers intertwined like lovers sharing a secret world. Their smiles are soft, intimate, the kind reserved for someone you trust deeply. Not colleagues, not work dinner. Ethan's heart drops, and the room seems to tilt as he scrolls again, hoping it's a mistake. But the image doesn't change. The betrayal is there, frozen in pixels. His breath comes shallow, his mind replaying every late night, every excuse, every moment he dismissed as paranoia. Ethan slowly walks into the kitchen, the phone still glowing his trembling hand, as if its light is the only thing binding him to reality. The refrigerator hums quietly behind him, the only sound in a house that suddenly feels too big, too empty. His mind spirals through moments he once cherished. Maya laughing, Maya leaning on his shoulder, Maya promising honesty, all now poisoned by the image he can't unsee. He grips the counter for balance, staring blankly at the tiles as the truth settles heavily on his chest. Betrayal isn't loud. It arrives in a quiet moment exactly like this. He whispers her name, barely audible, a soft crack in silence. "Why, Maya?" The words hang in the air, unanswered, painful. In that moment, Ethan knows the night has changed everything. His marriage, his trust, his entire world. Ethan grew up in a small, aging apartment with peeling wallpaper and drafty windows, raised by a single mother who carried exhaustion in her bones, yet never stopped smiling for him. She worked 2 jobs, cashier by day, cleaner by night, and Ethan learned early that love wasn't loud, dramatic, or glamorous. It was quiet endurance. He watched her patch torn clothes, manage overdue bills, and still find time to ask about his day. From her, he inherited a gentle temperament, the ability to wait, to forgive, to stay even when life felt heavy. But this patience became a weakness, too. He tolerated loneliness more than most, believing stability mattered more than confrontation. When Maya chose him, he felt like every sacrifice from his childhood finally meant something to him. Their marriage was proof that he was worth staying for, worth loving without conditions. Maya, with her stylish confidence and natural charisma, walked through the world as if it existed to applaud her. She was ambitious, talented, and magnetic, someone who thrived under praise. Compliments fed her like oxygen, especially in her male-dominated marketing team, where attention came easily. In the early years of marriage, this energy felt exciting. She and Ethan filled weekends with road trips, movie marathons, and plans for their future. But time changed their rhythm. Ethan became consumed with work-from-home deadlines, quieter, more tired. Maya, feeling unseen, grew colder, drifting toward people who offered the admiration she craved. Team dinners became frequent. Her phone stayed face down more often, and laughter between them faded into polite conversations. The shift wasn't dramatic. It was a slow unraveling, like a thread pulled loose without anyone noticing until it was too late. 2 people orbit this growing storm. Jenna, the wife of Maya's co-worker, is sharp-eyed and emotionally disciplined, the kind of woman who notices patterns others overlook. She has seen Ryan's shift in behavior, the extra cologne, the late returns, the careful lies disguised as routine. Ryan himself is the opposite of Ethan, self-assured, manipulative, a man who collects attention like trophies. In the workplace, he thrives on flirtation and blurred boundaries, and Maya slowly slipped into that gravitational pull. Ethan, meanwhile, senses the cracks but refuses to accuse blindly. His upbringing taught him to gather truth, not leap to conclusions. Still, the seed of doubt sits heavy in his chest. Every late dinner, every evasive smile from Maya, every unfamiliar perfume scent on her coat, it all adds weight. Tension grows quietly, pressing against his ribs, whispering a truth he isn't ready to face. When Jenna asks Ethan to meet her at a quiet cafe on the edge of town, he senses the conversation won't be simple. She sits across from him, posture firm, jaw tight, as if bracing herself for the impact of what she's about to reveal. Without hesitation, she turns her phone toward him. First, a video of Maya and Ryan slipping out of the office building long after most employees have left, walking too closely, heads leaning together like people hiding shared secrets. The second video steals Ethan's breath. Maya and Ryan standing beside Ryan's car, laughing softly before Ryan leans in and kisses her. Maya doesn't pull away. She melts into it. Jenna scrolls again and shows a chat screenshot. Ryan writing, "He'll never know. He trusts you too much." Ethan's throat closes. Every truth he avoided now sits right in front of him, undeniable and cruel. Ethan drives home as if moving through a fog, his body present but his mind shattered somewhere between disbelief and devastation. The road ahead blurs as streetlights streak across his windshield, each one reflecting the fragment of the life he thought he had. His hands grip the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turn white, and his breath comes in short, controlled bursts, the way one breathes while trying not to brake. When he finally pulls into his driveway, the house looks peaceful, porch light glowing softly, curtains drawn neatly, everything familiar and safe on the outside. But to Ethan, it feels like the walls are hiding something rotten beneath their clean surface. He sits in the parked car for a long moment, unable to move, unable to reconcile the home he built with the betrayal now poisoning it. Everything around him feels unchanged, yet nothing inside him is the same anymore. When Ethan finally entered the house, trying to steady his breathing, Maya walks in minutes later, earlier than usual, humming lightly as she sets her bag down. She moves with carefree energy, as though the night is ordinary, untouched by the weight crushing Ethan's chest. She wraps her arms around him and kisses him casually, but instead of warmth, Ethan feels a jolt of cold numbness. For the first time since he met her, he sees not his wife, but a stranger wearing her smile. Her perfume smells different now, tainted, heavy with the memory of the videos he just watched. She notices the stiffness in his body, but before she can ask anything, Ethan speaks softly. "Can we talk tomorrow? About us?" The light in Maya's eyes flickers. Her smile falters just a little. For the first time, fear creeps into her expression. Fear that he knows something that in the days that follow. Ethan moves through the house like a quiet ghost, observing Maya with a calmness that hides a storm beneath. He doesn't confront her, doesn't raise his voice. Instead, he watches her with new awareness. Every phone tilt, every sudden smile at a notification, every unnecessary detail in her explanations. Maya feels this shift instantly. She grows tense, irritated by his silence, suspicious of his unusually gentle tone. When he asks simple, harmless questions, "How was your dinner?" or "Who stayed late at work today?" she responds with long, rehearsed stories, tripping over her own contradictions. She insists her team dinners are mandatory, yet the dates never match her previous claims. Ethan sees through the gaslighting, the careful manipulation. Meanwhile, Jenna and Ethan begin forming a plan, not for revenge, but for truth. They want the truth to reveal itself, clean and undeniable, as the silent battle continues. Maya's behavior becomes increasingly erratic. She leaves the house in new outfits, wearing unfamiliar perfumes, scents that don't belong to Ethan's memories of her. Her late nights multiply, each one wrapped in flimsy excuses that shift every time she retells them. She keeps her phone on silent, screen turned away, sometimes locking at the moment Ethan walks into the room. But Ethan doesn't react. He simply watches, storing every detail with the calm precision of someone preparing for an inevitable collapse. Jenna stays in contact, providing updates from her own side. Ryan's lies, his sudden extra projects, his smug confidence at work. Together, Jenna and Ethan agree on one thing. Exposure must happen at the right moment, not in anger, but in clarity. And the closer the truth draws, the more Maya's carefully constructed facade begins to crack. Ethan remains composed in front of Maya, but the emotional weight builds like pressure inside a sealed container. One night, after she leaves for yet another team dinner, he steps into the shower, letting the hot water cascade over him. At first, he stands still, trying to breathe normally, but the silent ache in his chest finally breaks through. His shoulders shake as tears mix with the falling water, indistinguishable except for the way he presses his forehead against the cold tile. His hand trembles as he places it flat against the wall, gripping the surface as if it could hold him together. There is no sound, no sob, only silent tears, heavy breathing, and raw, suffocating sense of betrayal. It's the only moment he allows himself to fall apart, hidden beneath steam and water, where no one can see the truth of how deeply he's hurting. The company celebration is loud and brightly decorated, filled with music, chatter, and co-workers dressed in polished confidence. When Ethan walks in quietly, ignoring Maya's repeated attempts to convince him not to attend, he carries no anger, only a calmness sharpened by truth. Maya sees him from across the room, her smile faltering for just a millisecond before she masks it with exaggerated enthusiasm. Moments later, Jenna arrives, eyes fierce with purpose. She doesn't greet anyone. She heads straight to presentation area, connects her phone to the screen mirroring system, and without warning, the wall behind the podium lights up with private messages. First, screenshots of explicit chats between Maya and Ryan. Then, voice notes from Ryan mocking Ethan, laughing at his loyalty, calling him predictable. A line appears where Maya describes Ethan as boring but useful. The entire room falls into a stunned, breathless silence. Amid the suffocating silence, Ethan steps forward. His face is calm, almost too calm, the expression of someone who has already cried every tear in private. Maya stumbles toward him, hands shaking, whispering excuses no one believes. Ryan stands rigid, jaw clenched, shifting blame with every breath. Ethan raises his hand gently, signaling them to stop. Without a word, he taps his phone and plays a final recording, Ryan's voice echoing through the room like a confession dragged into daylight. "Don't worry, my wife is clueless. And Ethan? He worships you too much to suspect anything." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Co-workers exchange horrified glances, some stepping away from Maya and Ryan as if betrayal were contagious. The truth now sits in the open, unfiltered and merciless. Ethan's silence is louder than their lies, and everyone in the room feels a shift, the collapse of their carefully hidden sin. Maya finally breaks, her knees nearly buckling as she bursts into tears, grabbing at Ethan's sleeve, begging him to listen, to understand, to forgive. Ryan immediately throws blame in her direction, insisting she initiated everything, while Maya fires back weak excuses about stress, marriage difficulties, and feeling unappreciated. Their voices overlap in a pathetic scramble for sympathy, but no one moves to comfort them. Ethan stands still, breathing deeply, letting their chaos unravel on its own. When he finally speaks, his voice trembles but remains steady. "You betrayed the one person who would have moved the world for you." The words cut deeper than any shout could. Without waiting for a response, Ethan turns and walks through the stunned crowd, each step reclaiming the dignity they tried to take from him. Behind him, Maya collapses into sobs while co-workers avoid her gaze, the power dynamic permanently inverted. Ethan files for divorce with the same quiet strength that has carried him through every storm in his life. No shouting, no dramatic confrontations, just a calm decision written with years of loyalty and heartbreak behind it. Maya spirals through every phase of desperation, begging on her knees, promising change, blaming stress, screaming in frustration, and finally sobbing until her voice breaks. But Ethan remains steady, the emotional tether long severed. At the same time, Jenna files her own divorce papers, their lives moving in parallel like two people choosing cleansing instead of chaos. The simultaneous unraveling of both marriages becomes a symbolic purge, a release from manipulation and betrayal. Maya, stripped of her lies and masks, begins to crumble publicly, Her co-workers avoid her. Her friends distance themselves. The walls of the home she once filled with charm now echo with loneliness she can no longer escape. Once the decision is final, Ethan dedicates himself to rebuilding the pieces of his identity that have been buried under years of emotional neglect. He begins therapy, sitting in a small, peaceful office where he slowly unravels the wounds he hid even from himself. Journaling becomes his nightly ritual, pages filled with honesty, reflection, and quiet victories. The more he writes, the more he recognizes his worth beyond being someone's dependable husband. He revisits old hobbies he abandoned during the marriage, sketching, long walks at dawn, weekend coding projects he once loved. For the first time in years, he breathes without expecting heartbreak in the next moment. Jenna occasionally checks in, not as a co-conspirator anymore, but as someone who understands healing too. Ethan's life becomes a slow, steady climb upward, a quiet restoration of a man rediscovering who he always was. Ethan eventually moves into a small but warm apartment. Sunlight spilling across wooden floors, plants near the window, and shelves he fills with pieces of himself instead of remnants of a broken marriage. He cooks meals for one, enjoying the quiet ritual of preparing food at his own pace. He takes long walks through parks, breathing in open air without the weight of betrayal pressing against his ribs. On weekends, he explores old passions, sketching city scenes, reading novels he once started and never finished, rediscovering the joy of being alone, but not lonely. With each passing week, his smile returns, not forced, not polite, but real. Meanwhile, Maya sits in a home too quiet, surrounded by the consequences she created. Ethan's empowerment is not loud or vengeful. It is peaceful, steady, and earned. He steps into this new chapter not as a broken man, but as a rebuilt 1.6 months after the emotional storm that reshaped his life. Ethan sits quietly in a small cafe tucked between narrow city streets. The place is peaceful, filled with the soft hum of low conversations and the comforting clatter of cups meeting saucers. Sunlight filters through the window beside him, warming the table where his journal rests, worn, creased, and heavy with the weight of his past. Ethan looks calmer now. The shadows in his eyes have softened, replaced by a gentle stillness. This moment isn't about dramatic revelation or heartache. It's the quiet after the storm, where the air finally feels breathable again. As he writes in his journal, his hands move slowly but confidently, like someone who has rediscovered their center. The cafe's serene atmosphere mirrors his inner peace, marking the first time in months that he feels truly present, not haunted, not hurting, just alive as Ethan writes the words, "She broke me to pieces." But in those pieces, I finally found myself. He pauses for a moment to absorb them. The line doesn't come from anger or the need to blame. It comes from reflection, clarity, and acceptance. His handwriting is steady, more sure of itself than it had been during the months of chaos. These sentences carry the weight of everything he's endured: betrayal, heartbreak, self-doubt. But they also mark the beginning of something new. It's a statement of growth, an acknowledgement that pain, while destructive, can also rebuild a person into someone stronger. Closing the journal feels symbolic, almost ceremonial, like he is shutting the door on a part of his life that no longer defines him. The soft smile on his face is in triumph. It's peace. A peace earned through surviving, learning, and choosing to move forward. The camera lingers on the final line he wrote. Some betrayals are blessings we're in the wrong phase. There is no dramatic music, no harsh lighting, no signs of bitterness. Only the quiet power of acceptance. This final shot represents Ethan's transformation. Instead of defining himself by what happened, he now understands that the betrayal pushed him towards self-growth, clarity, and emotional independence. He no longer sees the past as a wound, but as a turning point that led him to rediscover his worth. The frame remains still, almost meditative, emphasizing that healing doesn't always end with fireworks. Sometimes it ends in silence, in understanding, in a soft exhale. As the scene slowly fades out, the viewer feels the weight of his journey, but also his gentle triumph. This is his quiet victory. Not revenge, not regret, but freedom. A life reclaimed, a future unburdened.